Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, from NBC News. House passes anti-Semitism bill with broad bipartisan support amid campus arrests. The Anti-Semitism Awareness Act would require the Education Department to adopt the definition of anti-Semitism used by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. Oh boy, wow. It passed with 320 to 91. 21 Republicans and 70 Democrats voted against the legislation. I'm actually surprised.
Me too.
To see as many Democrats vote against it. I'm not surprised by the Republicans, but the Democratic Party is pushing very heavily away from Israel. So I guess it's not really that surprising. They say the bill, titled the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act, would mandate that the Education Department adopt the broad definition of anti-Semitism used by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, an intergovernmental group to enforce anti-discrimination laws. The international group defines anti-Semitism as a certain perception of Jews, which may be expressed as hatred towards Jews. I mean, that's actually very vague. The group adds that rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism include such things as calling for the killing or harming of Jews or holding Jews collectively responsible for actions taken by the state of Israel. I mean, some of these things are fair, right? The problem is, we have the bill pulled up. I'll throw it to Thomas Massey. He says, today the House will vote on a bill to define anti-Semitism with the intent to increase prosecutions of activity on campuses. The bill has a problem beyond violating the First Amendment. The definition of anti-Semitism appears nowhere in the bill. To find the legally adopted definition of anti-Semitism, one must go to the website below. Not only is the definition listed here, but one also finds specific examples of anti-Semitic speech. Are those examples made part of the law itself? Do you agree with all of these examples of anti-Semitism? Should people in America be prosecuted for saying these things in all contexts? I think not. This is a poorly conceived, unconstitutional bill, and I will vote no. Well, here we are. The bill has passed, and a few important things to point out. It says Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, et cetera, et cetera. They go on to mention that there's already, I think, here we go. On December 11, 2019, Executive Order 13899 extended protections against discrimination under the 1964 Civil Rights Act to individuals subjected to anti-Semitism on college and university campuses, and tasked federal agencies to consider the IHRA working definition of anti-Semitism when enforcing the Title VI of such act. Now, that's under Donald Trump. What we have here, I'll pull up Matt Walsh. Here's how he puts it. The vast majority of Republicans just voted for a bill to criminalize criticisms of the Israeli government. If the bill passes, you will be guilty of hate speech if you apply double standards to the government of Israel or accuse it of genocide. This is honestly one of the most insane pieces of legislation I have ever seen. A few examples, and then we'll just jump into it. And some of these I think are okay. It's like some of these are calling for aiding or justifying the killing or harming of Jews in the name of an ideology. Like, yeah, okay, I get that. The ones that Matt brings up, denying the Jewish people their right to self-determination by claiming that the existence of a state of Israel is a racist endeavor. That's actually pretty wild to say you are in violation of the 1964 Civil Rights Act if you think Israel is racist. I mean, that's an opinion on a state government. They say applying double standards by requiring of it a behavior not expected or demanded of any other democratic nation. Now, look, I rag on people with what I describe as Israel derangement syndrome, but I think it's fair for people to have concerns. Like if you are critical or concerned with one government or one issue, that's not wrong. You're allowed to care about, I made the joke earlier. Can we talk about Myanmar instead? You're allowed to only care about the Philippines. You're allowed to only care about Japan. You're allowed to only care about the United States. It's actually pretty crazy that they're trying to say that's anti-Semitism. Using the symbols and images associated with classic anti-Semitism to characterize Israel or Israelis, drawing comparisons of contemporary Israeli policy to that of the Nazis. This is literally saying criticizing Israel's policies and drawing comparisons to the Nazis. This would be a violation of the 1964 Civil Rights Act under this new law.
So two things, right? First of all, hate speech is protected speech by the First Amendment. Like you can hate, right? Mm-hmm. And you don't need new laws to wrap up every single one of those moron commies for trespassing. Like none of that is like you can wrap every single one of them up and throw them in jail. And
you don't need a new law.
Yeah,
to
you
do
don't
it.
need a new law. You don't need something that Congress passes. You don't need a law that is unquestionably in violation of the First Amendment.
Like you know the reason they're doing it, right? Like you know why this bill was even put forth. It's for Republicans to message on the bill like, hey, Jews out there, we're here, we support you, left or right, right? And it's the Democrats that aren't. And so what we're going to do is we're going to force it to be on Biden to say, you know, yes or no or whatever, and try to put him in a corner or put this administration in a corner. And like, we're the people that are doing something. It's a messaging bill, which that's why I was surprised it wasn't a resolution. It was an actual bill. But that's what it's for. But